what we are talking about here is single family homes in working class neighborhoods. And we're going to ask whether, like debt or finance or cash, why do the rich choose debt? But I've got a bigger question than that. When I think of workforce housing in like around an urban core, single family homes, and I think of the rich. Normally when I hear the rich, I'm thinking angel investor, Silicon Valley tech, or like these, bigger kind of like, big money deals, like
Hmm.
what's going on in downtown Jacksonville and stuff like that. Do the rich buy single family workforce housing? Paul, what's your answer to that?
1000% yes, right? Well, absolutely. I mean, I like to not have to be smarter than everyone else, and I like to not have to be faster than everyone else. Why I love real estate. Real estate is a nice, slow-moving target, but also success leaves clues, right? All you have to do is go and Google, how many single-family homes Blackstone bought, right? One of the biggest, most successful, you know, whatever they want to call them, hedge fund institutions, whatever they are.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
was it, $17 billion, Greg, a couple of years
Hmm.
ago, that they
Hmm.
put in single family workforce housing, the blue collar neighborhoods that I love, so that I grew up in, right? That I still live in for the most part, right? Like I love being around my neighbors. And those are the neighborhoods that absolutely wealth is created in those neighborhoods. And the wealthy is absolutely buying single family home workforce housing. They always have, and kind of always will, because it's very steady and very predictable.
Yeah, and I'll add on and sprinkle some additional stats on there because the wealthy have always invested in single family rental properties. You've probably heard this. People know that real estate is a vehicle for the wealthy to be able to grow and maintain their wealth. But the way that the wealthy and at the rate at which the wealthy are investing in single family rental properties is staggering.
Interesting.
Because prior to just a few years ago, the way that people bought single family rental properties is maybe the traditional way, right? Where they go and they buy an individual asset, and they maybe build up a portfolio of properties. But what they didn't do is they didn't invest through Wall Street to be able to invest in single family rental properties. But now this asset class is front and center, is a darling of the Wall Street community to the tune of $110 billion put into play from Wall Street into single family rental properties. And, the rich, of course, invest in Wall Street. These are generally accredited funds that people are investing through. Some of the big names like Blackstone and Invitation Homes and American Homes for Rent, some of these major players here. Well, the rich are investing in these vehicles to the tune of $110 billion. That's coming to this asset class. And you may have heard the term build to rent.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when build to rent became a phenomenon and Wall Street started getting into it, it created an asset class that was not there previously. And so wealthy individuals have always been investing in rental properties, generally the way that we talk about. Maybe that's buying them in a traditional way or buying them with a vertically integrated company like a JWB. But in addition to that, there's now a preponderance of wealth that's going into this asset class specifically, much in the same way that apartment complexes became a Wall Street vehicle for wealth back in the 1980s. We've seen that now, call it over the last decade here in single family rental properties.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm a big fan of these like context changes, and when you see a certain group of people moving a certain way, it's just a foretelling sign of like what's coming and all these kinds of things. I remember if you look up Warren Buffett single family homes, right? Like there's a
Remember that?
video that went pretty viral of him being like, if I was going to buy one thing right now, it's single family homes, workforce, like that type of thing. And the sense that I get, or at least, I see the world through my own experience, and I'm a youngest child, so I'm very egotistical, but I didn't really know about this idea of being able to do it passively, right? Like I also have to assume that as you guys kind of famously got on the map, front page of the Wall Street Journal, because you invented this like infilled lot, build to rent, vertically integrated model. And this idea of turnkey rental property investing being something that not everybody had heard of, and then taking it to the next level of like fully integrated, vertically integrated rental property investing. It seems like it's becoming easier to buy single family home rental properties. That's why before the wealthy were the only ones that could afford it, but now it's becoming like a thing that more and more people have more eyes on. It's becoming more possible.
Yes. And the advantage to doing it the way that it always has been done is that everyday investors could become wealthy through acquiring a portfolio of single family rental properties. And companies like a JWB or other vertically integrated companies have focused on making this easier, making it easier to get into this asset class. Because it's still challenging to do it the Wall Street way. You got to be accredited, which means you have to make a ton of money, and not everybody meets those thresholds. And you have to invest a ton of money. A lot of times your minimums to invest are hundreds of thousands of dollars there. So there's a number of different ways now, and you're seeing wealthy individuals and those who want to be wealthy starting to have more access, more opportunities to be able to create the portfolio that's based in real estate.
Makes sense. So that being said, this business model is at JWB is made to make that easy for the average person, right? But you can become a not your average investor by going to chatwithjwb.com, get that conversation going,